What if you were the most powerful person who ever lived, and nobody knew it? What if you chose to be reborn into a world that had forgotten everything you once taught them, and the one mark that made you legendary was now considered a joke? That's exactly the situation our main character finds himself in. He's not a kid who got lucky with his powers. He's an ancient warrior sage who deliberately reincarnated, who chose this life because even at the peak of his power, he decided it wasn't enough. And now he's 12 years old, surrounded by people who pity him. In a world that has been slowly, quietly, deliberately dumbed down by demons hiding in plain sight for centuries. He has the knowledge of a god. He has the experience of 1,000 battles, and everybody thinks he's going to fail. They have absolutely no idea what's about to happen to them. So let's start. We open in the distant past. A legendary sage named Gaius stands across from an enormous dragon. He fights it, wins decisively, and then sighs. He's reached the absolute limit of his first crest. No matter how hard he trains, he can't grow any stronger with it. His conclusion? He needs the fourth crest, the crest of close combat magic, to truly reach the next level. There is just one problem. You can't change your crest. You're born with it and you die with it. So Gaius does the only logical thing a legendary sage would do. He performs a reincarnation ritual, casting a spell to send his soul thousands of years into the future, where he hopes to be reborn with the crest he always wanted. Cut to the present. A 12-year-old boy named Matthias Hildesheimer is riding a merchant's cart toward the royal capital. He's calm, sharp, and already sensing a calamity-ranked monster hiding in the nearby forest before anyone else even knows it exists. He dispatches it in one hit. Matthias, of course, is Gaius reincarnated, and to his delight, he was born with the fourth crest, exactly what he wanted. But the world he's woken up into is not what he expected. Centuries have passed, and in that time, humanity's magical knowledge has completely collapsed. The advanced spells Gaius once mastered are forgotten. Wordless casting magic without chanting a verbal incantation is practically a lost art. And worst of all, the fourth crest, the very crest Matthias chose specifically because it's the most powerful, is now universally considered the crest of failure. Everyone who sees his mark either pities him or dismisses him entirely. Matthias doesn't mind. He knows the truth, and he's about to prove it. Arriving in the capital, Matthias wanders into a weapon shop where a girl named Alma Lepucius is desperately trying to get her friend's sword repaired in time for an entrance exam today. The shopkeeper, Base, refuses. It's too complex a job for one day. Matthias steps in and offers to enchant a sword instead. Base scoffs. The boy has the crest of failure, after all. But Alma, out of options, accepts. A few minutes later, Matthias has enchanted the blade so powerfully that when Alma's best friend Luri Abendroth arrives and tests it against a table, the table splits clean in two without any resistance. Everyone in the shop is stunned. Luri, who carries the first crest, the most prestigious crest in this era, is so flustered by Matthias that she nervously introduces herself and accidentally announces that she's not in a relationship. On exam day, the three of them meet again at the Second Royal Academy. The entrance test has two parts: combat and magic. For combat, Matthias faces off against Guile, the captain of the Knights, a seasoned veteran who expects to toy with a kid carrying a failure crest. Matthias beats him without breaking a sweat, using his sword enchanted with silent magic mid-fight. For the magic portion, every candidate is expected to fire arrows at targets using standard incantation spells. Luri goes first and hits all 5 targets cleanly. Then Matthias steps up. The examiner tells him he doesn't have to try too hard with that crest. He'll probably fail anyway. Matthias just smiles and asks everyone to step back. He wordlessly conjures a massive magical circle and fires it at the target. The entire exam ground explodes into a crater. Matthias scratches his head. He used a little too much power. Both he and Luri pass the exam. So does Alma. All 3 are accepted into the Second Royal Academy. After the entrance ceremony, Headmaster Edward pulls Matthias into his office. The teachers are there too. They're not angry. They're amazed. Edward explains that Matthias demonstrated wordless magic, casting without any spoken incantation, a skill that has essentially vanished from the world. Nobody in this era knows how to do it. Edward asks Matthias to teach all the students this lost art so that the Second Academy can finally compete against the dominant First Royal Academy in the upcoming inter-school competition. Matthias agrees. The training montage that follows shows the Second Academy's students throwing themselves into learning wordless casting. Progress is slow, but it's real. One day during training, Matthias notices Luri is running out of magical energy. Without a word, he quietly transfers some of his own energy into her, just enough for her to keep practicing. She manages her first successful wordless spell and lights up with joy. She also turns extremely red when she realizes his hand was on hers. Pre-combination day arrives, but before the first match even begins, Matthias senses something deeply wrong. There is a demon in the arena, disguised as a human. The demon, named Devilis, is posing as a First Academy student with a first crest. When Matthias faces him in the arena, he quickly takes out Devilis's 2 demon lackeys in a single spell, then begins deliberately provoking the demon, forcing him to use wordless magic to keep up. This is Matthias's trap. If Devilis uses wordless magic, it exposes him, because in this world, only demons are rumored to cast without chanting. Sure enough, Matthias uses a spell to shatter Devilis's human disguise, revealing a demon in front of the entire crowd. Even the First Academy's own headmaster looks like he's going to pass out. Devilis tries to flee. Matthias cuts off his escape and defeats him right there in the arena. The Second Academy wins, but more importantly, Matthias has just confirmed something chilling. Demons exist in this world, and they've been hiding among humans for a very long time. Headmaster Edward is amazed that someone Matthias's age defeated a demon alone. Apparently the first time in recorded history, a single person his age has done so. He takes Matthias to meet the king. The king wants to reward Matthias with territory, land he can rule over. Matthias declines immediately. He reincarnated to get stronger, not to push paperwork. He asks instead for access to the dungeons and any rare items inside them. The king agrees, and then reveals a troubling development. The kingdom's 4 chosen ones, their most powerful mages, have all vanished. On the very same day, Matthias defeated Devilis. Matthias puts it together. Those chosen ones were demons themselves. When Devilis was exposed, they realized their cover was blown and fled. And that's when Matthias drops the real bomb. Those demons aren't just gone, they're planning. He calculates from their magical signatures that in 3 months, a full demon army will descend on the royal capital. The king goes pale. 3 months is almost no time at all. Matthias presents his plan. He'll build a magical barrier around the entire kingdom to block the demon invasion. It will take him 1 month to construct. He'll need the Second Academy students to help gather materials from the dungeons. The king agrees. The fate of the kingdom now rests on a 12-year-old boy with the so-called weakest crest. In the king's treasury, Matthias finds 2 items from his previous life, a powerful sword and a magical pendant that enhances mana output. He made both of them himself centuries ago. He takes them without telling anyone what they really are. Back at the Second Academy, Matthias recruits Luri and Alma to join his party for the dungeon runs. Luri is excited but nervous. Alma says she's not great with a sword. She prefers a bow. Everyone has told her that archery is useless in combat. Matthias disagrees. He demonstrates how to infuse magical energy into an arrow, turning a basic arrow into a homing projectile that tracks its target. Alma watches in amazement. Luri immediately wants to learn enchantment magic too. Both of them join the party. Inside the dungeon beneath the Second Royal Academy, Matthias leads them through floor after floor. He uses the sessions as training, forcing Alma to practice her enchanted archery and Luri to practice weaponsmithing and enchantment while fighting in real conditions. At one point, Matthias descends to the 25th floor alone, the deepest anyone has ever gone, to gather rare materials. He encounters the Arc Serpent, the floor's boss, a massive poisonous snake creature. Even with his power at roughly half of what it was in his past life, Matthias defeats it by absorbing a magic stone's particles into his sword and delivering a decisive strike. After the fight, Luri and Alma are training well, but both are exhausted. Matthias sets up a temporary magical barrier inside the dungeon, a small shelter for them to rest in. When they leave the dungeon and try to sell their haul at the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist sizes up Matthias's crest of failure and assumes he must be the party's porter, until he pulls the Arc Serpent's severed head out of his inventory storage magic. The receptionist screams. The guild pays out 750 gold for the combined haul. But Matthias has already detected something else. 2 demons, positioned near the Second Academy, one stronger, one weaker. His plan, he'll take the powerful one himself. Luri and Alma will handle the weaker demon not to kill it, but to stall it. The fight plays out exactly as planned. Alma fires enchanted arrows, ones Luri has poisoned with a special magical formation that begin draining the weaker demon's internal magic. Meanwhile, Matthias engages the more powerful demon, Ashriel, in a running battle through the city streets. Ashriel is strong enough to give even Matthias a real fight. He casts massive fire spells, but Matthias uses Control Sphere, a technique that lets him manipulate and redirect an enemy's own magic back at them. He electrocutes Ashriel with a carefully placed lightning trap, wounds him repeatedly, and finally prevents the demon from triggering a self-sacrificial summoning spell. On the other side of the city, Luri and Alma's poison strategy works perfectly. The weaker demon collapses from magical overload, and Alma finishes it with an arrow. Both demons are dead. Matthias grabs Luri and Alma and flies them into the sky to avoid the crowd of witnesses gathering below. Luri turns completely red. Alma takes in the sunset. Back at the palace the next day, the king rewards them and reveals something new. One of the demons they flushed out, the one Matthias hit with an electric shock through long-distance surveillance magic, was using a monitoring spell from a location far to the northwest. Matthias traces the signal to a specific set of coordinates. The king confirms it. An abandoned village, destroyed by demons long ago. That's where the remaining demons are hiding. The problem? It's 6 months away on foot. Matthias can't teleport that far. He needs another way. He knows just the solution. But it's going to be a very interesting conversation. Matthias leads the group into the mountains near the capital, searching for a specific creature. Luri and Alma follow nervously, not knowing what he's looking for. They find it. A black dragon, massive, ancient, and furious at the intrusion. The dragon introduces herself and warns them to leave or die. Matthias keeps walking toward her. The dragon attempts to fire her most powerful attack, the Breath of Dragon, but Matthias counters it with Nullify Magic, canceling the attack entirely in an instant. The dragon freezes. Nobody's ever done that before. Matthias speaks to her in the ancient dragon language, and then he says something that stops her cold. He tells her he's the reincarnation of Gaius. The dragon, whose name is Iris, immediately bows to the ground and starts apologizing. It turns out she and Gaius have history. She had fought him in his previous life, lost decisively, and surrendered. She remembers him very well. Iris explains that her wings were damaged when a group of humans attacked her. She hasn't been able to fly in 5,000 years. She asks if Matthias can help. Matthias can't fully heal her with his current 4th crest, but he repairs her wings enough for her to fly again. In return, Iris agrees to carry the party to the abandoned demon village. At a reduced speed, she quickly discovers that even 1% of her full flying speed is almost enough to knock the humans off her back. They arrive at the abandoned village. A demon guard stands watch. Matthias appears out of nowhere and cuts him down before he can even react. Iris quietly notes to herself that she's very glad she didn't keep fighting Gaius back in the day. Inside the village's ruined castle, Matthias senses 2 demonic presences. The first is Elhart, formerly one of the kingdom's most powerful magic captains, now revealed as a demon in disguise. The second is a far stronger, unnamed demon. Matthias gives Luri and Alma a magic formation paper and sends them to handle Elhart. He goes for the stronger one. The girls fight Elhart together. Alma's homing arrows steadily disrupting his magic, Luri's enchanted poison arrows draining him from the inside. When Elhart activates Berserk mode, a demon tribe's secret technique that massively amplifies power at the cost of the user's life, he seems unstoppable. But Matthias had anticipated this. The Luri and Alma that Elhart was about to crush were illusions, and those illusions were packed with concentrated poison. The real Luri and Alma were safe the whole time. Elhart collapses from the poison, and Alma finishes him with a headshot. Matthias faces the second, stronger demon alone. This demon is no pushover. He's genuinely more powerful than Elhart at full strength, fast enough to slice off Matthias's arm in a single movement. Matthias doesn't even flinch. He used restoration magic to immediately reattach his arm, and used the moment when his arm was cut to run analysis magic on the demon's complete power structure. Now he can predict every attack before it happens. He explains this to the demon calmly. The demon can't land a hit on him anymore. When the demon tries to create a concealing fog as a last resort, Matthias nullifies it. When the demon activates his own version of Berserk mode, Matthias uses Nullify Magic to cancel the transformation entirely. Then Matthias reverses the demon's own magic against him, flooding his body with more magical energy than he can contain, and the demon overloads and explodes. Afterward, Matthias finds a dragon vein pillar at the site, an ancient structure that channels magical power from the earth and attracts powerful monsters. The demons were planning to use it to spawn an army near the royal capital. The explosion disrupted the pillar just enough to shift the demons' planned spawn point from inside the capital to 10 kilometers outside of it. That's still dangerous, but it gives the kingdom a fighting chance. Back at the academy, Matthias enrolls Iris as a student, after giving her an artificial crest tattoo so no one suspects she's a dragon. Her entrance exam is a disaster and a spectacle at the same time. During the physical combat test, Iris accidentally bends Edward's sword like a wet noodle. During the magic test, her attacks bounce off the target array and create massive explosions that leave giant craters in the ground. Headmaster Edward decides she passes anyway, mostly because he's too scared of her to say no. Iris officially joins Matthias's party. With the demon army 3 months away, Matthias focuses on completing the magical barrier. The problem? He needs one. 5 tons of mithril from the dungeons and a large magistone as the barrier's core. And the second academy doesn't have enough students with the right crests to gather materials fast enough. Most students with the Crest of Glory, the most efficient for mining enchanted materials, belong to the First Royal Academy, which has long dominated the kingdom's magical hierarchy. And the First Academy's headmaster, an arrogant man named Facus, refuses to cooperate. Matthias proposes a rematch competition. If the Second Academy wins, the First Academy must do everything they say. No restrictions on team size or combat style. Facus accepts, but adds a condition. Matthias and his personal party members cannot participate. Matthias agrees. On competition day, Facus sends his entire roster of First Academy students, all bearing high-ranking crests. The Second Academy sends 5 students with second, third, and fourth crests. The First Academy begins chanting their fire arrow formations in unison. The Second Academy's 5 students hit them all with wordless casting before they finish their first line. It's over in seconds! The First Academy students break and scatter in panic. Facus refuses to accept the results, demanding the Second Academy students be declared demons since they used wordless casting. When Headmaster Edward calmly explains they're all human, Facus demands one more duel against Iris. Iris bends the sword she's given into a pretzel. Facus loses what's left of his composure. At that moment, the king himself appears. He heard everything. Facus is arrested on the spot for refusing the king's order to adopt wordless magic training. He's dragged away shouting. The king orders the First Academy to merge its training with the Second Academy immediately. The Barrier Project now has the manpower it needs. In the dungeon, Matthias leads Luri and Alma, with Iris in tow, to gather materials for the Barrier's core Magistone. The dungeon training also continues. Luri is learning weapon enchantment and crafts Matthias a new sword from dragon claw and mithril materials. Alma keeps refining her magical archery. Iris is learning to control her almost uncontrollable power in human form. Training Iris is its own challenge. During one session, she summons a dungeon dragon far too powerful for the floor they're on, not on purpose, just because even her small magical output is catastrophic. The resulting fight requires Matthias to hold the dragon's breath attack using suppression formations, Alma and Luri to bait and distract it, and Iris to taunt the dragon in dragon language to make it angry enough to expose a weakness. Matthias's plan works. The dungeon dragon destroys itself with its own reflected attack. Iris takes the dragon's massive Magistone big enough to power the barrier and holds it up proudly. She officially becomes the 4th member of the party. Luri crafts upgraded weapons for everyone, a new sword for Matthias, enchanted bow and arrows for Alma, and a magical sphere weapon for Iris. Each weapon is tuned to match its user's crest and fighting style. With the barrier nearing completion, Matthias detects a new threat, a large-scale demon operation in the city of Folkia. The demons have been using humans as unwilling subjects to produce dangerous magical weapons. Matthias and the party travel there to stop it. In Folkia, they dismantle the operation through a combination of Matthias's tactical brilliance, Iris's raw power, Alma's long-range precision, and Luri's ever-growing enchantment skill. The city is freed. But the demons have a final card to play. Their mastermind, a demon lord-class entity far beyond anything Matthias has faced yet in this new life, reveals himself. Even Matthias, reading the demon's power level, feels a cold shock for the first time. The battle is the most intense of the series. Luri and Alma race against time to secure a powerful magical weapon while Matthias engages the demon lord directly, buying time through strategy, nullify magic, and the tactical use of every trick and tool he's gathered throughout the season. In the end, Matthias wins. The demon lord is destroyed, and the dragon vein pillar's influence is finally severed. Back at the academy, the barrier is completed. The demon army that was supposed to overwhelm the kingdom crashes against it and cannot get through. The kingdom is safe. For now. Matthias stands at the edge of the completed barrier, watching quietly as the storm the demons brought with them fades beyond the magical wall. He thinks back to what he overheard, that after all this is done, he might have no reason to stay at the academy. The barrier is up. The immediate demon threat is neutralized. His goal here is essentially complete, but Luri overheard him say that. And she said nothing. She just kept training. Because somewhere in this new life, between the dungeons and the demon fights and the quiet moments of teaching and being taught, something has started that neither of them expected. The demons, meanwhile, are still out there. A powerful voice in the darkness says, "Just a little longer, and then humanity will be erased entirely." The story isn't over, but Season 1 ends here.